The fluorescent lights of City General Hospital buzzed like dying insects above Emma Rivera's head. 14 hours. 14 hours of blood under her fingernails, of coding patients, of holding the hands of people who might not see tomorrow. She clocked out at midnight, her scrub stained with someone else's emergency. 28 years old, and she'd perfected the art of being invisible. Competent, reliable, forgettable. The night air hit her lungs like cold water on a burn. Her phone lit up with Lisa's text. Murphy's. Now. No excuses. Emma stared at her reflection in the car window. Dark circles, pulled back hair. When had she stopped recognizing herself? Murphy's bar glowed amber and warm, jazz floating through cigarette smoke and conversation. Lisa's red hair was a beacon, but Emma's eyes caught on someone else. He sat alone at the bar. Dark hair, rolled sleeves, forearms corded with muscle. He stared into his whiskey like it held confessions he wasn't ready to make. When he turned, his eyes were brown that burned amber in the low light. Something about him ached with the same exhaustion she felt in her bones. "Now that's what I call a distraction," Lisa whispered. "I don't talk to strangers in bars." "You don't talk to anyone anywhere." Lisa squeezed her hand. "You're disappearing, Em. When's the last time you felt anything?" As if he heard them, the stranger looked up. Their eyes locked across the room. The air between them crackled. He stood, left money on the bar, walked toward them with the kind of purpose that made Emma's heart kick against her ribs. "I hope I'm not interrupting." His voice was rough velvet. "But I couldn't walk out of here without telling you that you have the most expressive eyes I've ever seen." Lisa grinned, already standing. "I need the restroom. Emma, practice being human." She disappeared into the crowd. "I'm James." "Emma." His hand was warm, calloused in unexpected places. "May I sit? Just for a moment." Up close, she could see the lines around his eyes, laugh lines mixed with something heavier. The face of someone who carried weight he never asked for. "You look like you've had a long day," he said. 14-hour shift. I probably smell like hospital disinfectant." "Hospital." Interest flickered in his eyes. "Nurse?" "Emergency department." "You work in healthcare too?" "Something like that." He leaned forward. "Let's not talk about work. Tell me something real about Emma. Something that has nothing to do with saving lives." Most men wanted medical horror stories. James wanted to know who she was. "I used to paint. Watercolors. Trying to capture how light changes everything." "Used to. What happened to the artist?" Emma shrugged, feeling exposed. "Medical school was expensive. Painting doesn't pay bills. But it fed your soul." His voice was quiet. "I understand that kind of sacrifice. Sometimes we give up the things that make us who we are for the things we think we should become." They talked for hours, about places where light was so beautiful it hurt, about the weight of responsibility, about forgetting who you were before the world told you who to be. "You're not what I expected," James said as the bar emptied around them. "What did you expect?" "Someone beautiful but distant. Polite conversation and a polite exit." He studied her face. "Instead, I found someone real. Someone who sees the world in colors I'd forgotten existed." Last call came too soon. Emma glanced at her watch. Nearly 2 a.m. "I should go." "Should." James smiled slightly. "There's that word. What do you want to do, Emma?" She looked at this stranger who made her feel more alive than she had in years. Something rare pulsed between them. "I want to stop thinking about should. My hotel is around the corner. No expectations. Just two people who don't want this night to end." Emma's pulse thundered in her ears. This wasn't like her. But maybe that was exactly the point. "Okay." They walked through quiet streets, hands finding each other in the darkness. The hotel was elegant, understated. In his room, they sat on the bed like teenagers sharing secrets. When James kissed her, it felt like coming home and falling off a cliff at the same time. His touch was reverent, like she was something precious he'd been searching for and finally found. In his arms, she wasn't the exhausted nurse, or the woman who'd given up her dreams. She was simply Emma, beautiful, desired, worthy. She woke to sunlight and the smell of coffee. James stood by the window, already dressed, his profile carved in morning light. He looked different, more formal, the softness from last night replaced with something harder. "Good morning," she said, pulling the sheet around herself. He turned with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Good morning, beautiful." Reality crashed back. She had a shift that afternoon. A life that didn't include hotel rooms and mysterious strangers. "I should probably go." "Emma?" He crossed to her, cupped her face. "Last night meant something. Tell me it meant something to you, too." "It did. But I don't even know your last name." "Kingston." "James Kingston." The name hit her like ice water. James Kingston. The name that had been circulating through hospital gossip for weeks. The billionaire. The new owner. The man who just bought City General Hospital. "You're him," she whispered. "You bought the hospital. You're my boss." His jaw tightened. "I was going to tell you." "When? After? Before? Or were you never going to tell me at all?" "Emma, it's not like that." She grabbed her clothes, hands shaking. "I slept with my boss. I slept with the man who controls my entire career. You didn't know. That's not what this was." "Then what was it, James?" She pulled on her scrubs, feeling humiliated. "A test? A game? Does the billionaire owner make a habit of sleeping with his employees?" "Stop!" His voice was sharp. "Last night was real. The most real thing I've felt in years. Last night was a mistake." She headed for the door. "Emma, please." She turned back, tears burning her eyes. "I can't afford mistakes. I've worked too hard, sacrificed too much. I won't lose everything because I let myself feel something for one night. This doesn't have to be over." "Yes, it does." She opened the door. "Stay away from me, Mr. Kingston." She left him standing in the sunlight, looking like she'd gutted him. But as she drove to work, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that walking away from James Kingston was either the smartest decision she'd ever made or the biggest mistake of her life. Emma made it through 3 days without seeing him. 3 days of whispers following her through the hospital corridors. 3 days of James Kingston's name on everyone's lips. The new owner was making changes, cutting budgets, reorganizing departments. People were scared, and Emma couldn't stop thinking about how his hands had felt on her skin. Emergency staff meeting. Conference room A now. The announcement crackled over the intercom. Lisa grabbed Emma's arm in the hallway. "Did you hear? Kingston's addressing the ER department personally. They say he's ruthless, cold, that he's here to gut the place and sell it for parts." Emma's stomach twisted. That didn't sound like the man who'd talked about sacrificing dreams. But what did she really know about him? The conference room was packed. Emma slipped into the back, keeping her head down. Then James walked in. He wore a suit that probably cost more than her car. His jaw was set, expression unreadable. He looked every inch the billionaire businessman. Nothing like the vulnerable man who'd kissed her like she was oxygen. His eyes swept the room and landed on her. For a fraction of a second, something flickered across his face. Then it was gone. "I'll be direct," James said, his voice carrying authority. "City General is hemorrhaging money. Without significant changes, this hospital will close within 18 months. I didn't buy this place to watch it die." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "I'm implementing a performance review system. Every department, every employee. If you're not contributing to this hospital's survival, you won't have a place here." Emma's blood ran cold. He was threatening their jobs, their livelihoods. "Some of you will be let go. Some will be reassigned. The dead weight will be cut." His eyes found hers again. No exceptions. No special treatment. Was that last part meant for her? A message that what happened between them bought her nothing? Questions? Emma's hand went up before she could stop herself. What about patient care? Or does profit matter more than the people we're trying to save? The room went silent. Everyone turned to stare at her. James's expression hardened. "And you are?" "Emma Rivera, ER nurse." She lifted her chin. "I've been here 4 years. I've watched this hospital save lives that wealthier hospitals gave up on. We serve a community that has nowhere else to go. So yes, Mr. Kingston, I'm asking if profit is all you care about." Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. "Ms. Rivera, this hospital can't save anyone if it's closed. I'm trying to keep it open. Or would you prefer everyone loses their jobs and the community loses everything? I'd prefer an owner who understood what we do here, who saw people instead of numbers. That's enough." His voice was sharp. "See me after this meeting, my office. We need to discuss your attitude." Lisa grabbed Emma's hand under the table. Her palm was sweating. The meeting ended. People filed out, shooting Emma sympathetic looks. Or maybe pitying ones. She'd just committed career suicide. Emma walked to the executive floor on shaking legs. The secretary waved her through to James's office. He stood at the window, back to her. The door clicked shut behind her. That was reckless, he said without turning. It was honest. It was a challenge. In front of my entire staff. Maybe you needed to be challenged. He spun around. You don't know what I need, Emma. You don't know anything about me. Apparently not. The man I met wouldn't threaten the jobs of people who can't afford to lose them. The man you met? He crossed to her in 3 strides. You mean the man you walked away from? The one you called a mistake? They were inches apart. Emma could smell his cologne. See the muscle ticking in his jaw. You lied to me, she breathed. I omitted. There's a difference. A convenient one. Damn it, Emma. His voice dropped low. Do you think I wanted this? Do you think I wanted to feel something real for the first time in years? Only to have you look at me like I'm some corporate monster? Then prove you're not. How? By letting this hospital die to make you feel better about my intentions? By pretending I don't have impossible choices to make? By remembering that every number in your budget is a person? A life. James's eyes searched hers. You think I don't know that? You think I don't lie awake at night trying to figure out how to save this place without destroying it? Then why the threats? Why scare everyone? Because scared people work harder. Because this hospital is broken and someone has to fix it. He turned away. You can go. Consider this your warning. Challenge me in public again and you're done. Emma's hand was on the doorknob when his voice stopped her. Emma. He didn't turn around. That night meant something. I wasn't lying about that. It doesn't matter what it meant. We're on opposite sides now, are we? She left without answering. But that night, when she got home, there was a package waiting. Inside was a set of professional watercolor paints. The expensive kind she'd never been able to afford, no note. Just the paints. Emma sat on her floor and cried for the first time in years. The next morning, she arrived early to find her schedule changed. She'd been reassigned to shadow the new protocols James was implementing, which meant working directly with him, every single day. Lisa cornered her in the break room. Everyone's talking. Why would Kingston assign you to his special project after you challenged him in that meeting? I don't know, but she did know. Or at least she suspected. James was keeping her close. The question was why. The first day of shadowing, James was all business, professional, cold, like the night they'd shared had never happened. But on day 3, they were alone in a supply closet doing inventory. The door clicked shut. The space was small, too small. You're avoiding looking at me, James said quietly. I'm working. Emma. He caught her wrist. Look at me, she did. Big mistake. His eyes were burning with something that made her knees weak. Tell me you don't feel this, he whispered. Tell me it's just me and I'll stop. I'll stay away. I'll be nothing but your boss, James. Say it. Tell me that night meant nothing. She couldn't, because it would be a lie. His thumb traced circles on her wrist. I bought you the paints because you should never have stopped being an artist. Because even in a business deal, I saw something worth saving, worth fighting for. This is insane. You're my boss. This can't happen. I know. People are watching, waiting for you to show favoritism. If anyone found out, I know, then why won't you let this go? James's hand came up to cup her face. Because I've spent 10 years building an empire and feeling nothing. And then I met you, and suddenly I remembered what it felt like to be human. Emma leaned into his touch before she could stop herself. This will destroy us both. Probably. His thumb brushed her lower lip. Is that a yes? It's a terrible idea. That's not a no, she kissed him. Hard and desperate and absolutely insane. He backed her against the shelves, his body pressing into hers, his hands in her hair. The door handle rattled. They jumped apart. James straightened his tie. Emma pressed a hand to her racing heart. The door opened. Dr. Sarah Chen, chief of medicine, stood there. Her eyes flicked between them. Emma's flushed face, James's disheveled appearance. The air that still crackled with what they'd been doing. Mr. Kingston. Ms. Rivera. Sarah's voice was ice. How convenient finding you both here. James's expression went blank. Dr. Chen, we were just finishing inventory. I'm sure you were, Sarah smiled. It wasn't friendly. Mr. Kingston, you're needed in administration. Ms. Rivera, your shift ended 10 minutes ago. I suggest you clock out before you accumulate unauthorized overtime. It was a dismissal, and a warning. Emma grabbed her things and fled. She made it to her car before her phone buzzed. Unknown number, my office. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., come alone. We need to talk about what I saw. Sarah Chen Emma's hands shook as she read it. Sarah knew. And whatever she wanted, it wasn't going to be good. Emma didn't sleep. She stared at her ceiling, watching shadows move across the plaster, thinking about Sarah Chen's text. About what the chief of medicine could do with the information she had. About how everything was about to fall apart. At 5:45 a.m., Emma stood outside Sarah's office. The hospital was quiet, only the night shift wandering through like ghosts. She knocked. Come in. Sarah sat behind her desk, looking crisp and professional despite the early hour. She gestured to a chair. Sit, Emma sat. Her hands were clammy. How long? Sarah asked. I don't know what you mean. Don't insult my intelligence, Emma. How long have you been sleeping with James Kingston? The words hit like a slap. Dr. Chen, I can explain. Can you? Because what I saw yesterday looked like a relationship between an owner and an employee, which, as I'm sure you know, violates about 6 hospital policies. Sarah leaned forward. Not to mention it puts both of you in an incredibly compromising position. It's not what you think. Then what is it? Emma's mind raced. The truth? That she'd met James before knowing who he was? That she'd tried to walk away? That she couldn't? It's complicated, Emma finally said. It's a scandal waiting to happen. Sarah pulled out a folder. I have here the preliminary termination list. 63 employees are about to lose their jobs. Your name isn't on it. Care to guess why? Emma's stomach dropped. No, because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're receiving special treatment from a man you're intimately involved with. I earned my position here. My performance reviews are spotless. That may be true, but perception is everything, Emma. Sarah slid the folder across the desk. If word gets out about you and Kingston, every person on this list will have grounds to sue. They'll claim favoritism, discrimination. This hospital will be destroyed by litigation before James Kingston can even attempt to save it. Emma felt sick. What do you want? Sarah smiled. I want to save this hospital. Just like you do. Just like I believe James does too. But I can't do that if we're mired in scandal. So you want me to end it? I want you to never have started it. But since we're past that point, yes. End it. Immediately. Cleanly. And I'll keep what I saw to myself. And if I don't, then I go to the board. I file a formal complaint, and both of you are removed. James loses the hospital he's trying to save. You lose your career. Everyone loses. It wasn't a choice. It was a gun to her head. I'll end it, Emma whispered. Good. Sarah's expression softened slightly. For what it's worth, I don't take pleasure in this. But I've been at this hospital for 20 years. I won't watch it burn because 2 people couldn't keep their hands off each other. Emma stood on shaking legs. Is that all? That's all. Oh, and Emma, I meant what I said. You're a talented nurse. Don't throw your career away for a man, no matter how much you think you love him. Emma made it to the bathroom before she broke. She gripped the sink, staring at her reflection. Red eyes, pale skin, the face of someone losing everything. Her phone buzzed. James, good morning. Coffee before your shift? I need to see you. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. This should be easy. Send a text. End it. Walk away. But nothing about James Kingston had ever been easy. Emma, we need to talk. My place. Tonight. She had 8 hours to figure out how to say goodbye to the only man who'd made her feel alive in years. The shift was brutal. A car accident victim, a child with meningitis, an elderly man whose heart gave out while Emma held his hand. Death and life constantly dancing, reminding her that everything was temporary, even love, especially love. At 11 p.m., James knocked on her apartment door. He held takeout bags and wore jeans instead of a suit. He looked younger, more like the man from the bar. I brought Thai food, he said. Your favorite, according to Lisa. You asked Lisa about me? I'm a thorough researcher. He stepped inside. Emma, what's wrong? You sounded strange in your text. She couldn't do this looking at him. Put the food down. James set the bags on the counter. You're scaring me. Sarah Chen saw us. Yesterday, in the supply closet. His face went blank. What did she say? That we're a scandal waiting to happen. That if anyone finds out, it'll destroy your efforts to save the hospital. That people will sue. That we'll both lose everything. So she threatened you. She gave me reality. James, she's right. If this gets out, you lose your credibility. I become the nurse who slept her way into job security. Everyone suffers. James ran a hand through his hair. We can fight this. We can be discreet. We can't. Emma's voice broke. There's no version of this that works. You're too visible. I'm too vulnerable. Someone will always be watching, waiting for us to slip up. I don't care. You should. This hospital is why you came here. Saving it matters more than this. Than us. Don't tell me what matters to me. James crossed to her. Emma, I've spent a decade building companies. Making money. Feeling nothing. And then I found you. Do you know how rare that is? How impossible. That's why it can't work. Because it's too much, too fast, too impossible. You're ending this. His voice was hollow. You're actually ending this. Emma forced herself to meet his eyes. We had one night, a few stolen moments. It was beautiful, but it was never going to be more than that. Liar. James cupped her face. Look at me and tell me you don't feel this. That you won't lie awake thinking about what we could have been. What we could have been doesn't matter. Only what we are, boss and employee. That's all we can ever be. Emma. You need to leave, James. He stared at her. She watched something break behind his eyes. Something she'd put there the night they met. If this is what you want, he said quietly, it's what we need. James walked to the door. Stopped. For the record, you were never just an employee to me. You were the woman who reminded me I was human, that I could feel something other than ambition and emptiness. He left. The door closed. Emma slid down the wall and finally let herself fall apart. The next week was hell. James was everywhere and nowhere. He'd pass her in hallways without looking, sit in on ER meetings without acknowledging her existence. He'd become the cold businessman everyone feared, and Emma hated herself for breaking the only man who'd ever truly seen her. Until the morning Lisa burst into the break room, face white. Emma, you need to see this, now. She pulled up her phone. A news article. The headline made Emma's blood freeze. Billionaire owner accused of affair with hospital employee. Corruption allegations surface. Someone had leaked it. Someone knew. And they'd gone to the press. Emma's phone rang. James, my office. Now. We have a problem. She ran. James's office was chaos. Lawyers, board members. Sarah Chen stood in the corner looking furious. Someone leaked this to the media, James said without preamble. Someone inside this hospital. The board is demanding a formal investigation. They want me to step down pending review. Who would do this? Emma asked. Sarah's eyes narrowed. That's what we need to find out, because whoever did this just declared war on this hospital. Emma's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She opened the text. You took something that belonged to me. Now I'm taking everything from you. Watch your back, Emma. This is just the beginning. The number was blocked. But Emma recognized the writing style. The phrasing. She looked up at Sarah, at James, at the lawyers watching her like she was a bomb about to explode. I know who did this, Emma whispered. And it's so much worse than we thought. Who? James demanded. Emma, who sent this? Emma stared at her phone, the words blurring. You took something that belonged to me. Only one person would phrase it that way. Only one person had reason to destroy them both. Marcus. Her voice was barely a whisper. Marcus Chen, Sarah's son. Sarah's face went white. That's impossible. Marcus wouldn't do this. He would if he thought I betrayed him. Emma looked at Sarah. We dated. 2 years ago, before I started at this hospital. It ended badly. James's jaw clenched. How badly? He wanted marriage. Forever. I wanted medical school, a career. He couldn't handle the rejection. Emma's hands shook. He told me I'd regret choosing ambition over love, that he'd make sure I understood what I'd given up. My son isn't a vindictive child, Sarah said, but her voice wavered. Your son works in hospital administration, Emma continued. He has access to everything: schedules, personnel files, security footage. James pulled out his phone, made a call. Security. I need all footage from the supply closet incident pulled, and I need Marcus Chen's access logs for the past month now. The room went silent. Sarah sank into a chair, suddenly looking decades older. How long has he been watching? She asked quietly. I don't know. But that text wasn't a confession. It was a threat. This is just the beginning. 20 minutes later, security arrived with a laptop. The head of security, Rodriguez, looked grim. Mr. Kingston, you need to see this. He pulled up footage. Marcus Chen, entering the administrative offices at night, accessing files, downloading information. The timestamps went back weeks, since before Emma and James had even met. He was watching me, Emma breathed. Even after 2 years, he was still watching. Another file opened. Emails from Marcus to various media outlets. Carefully crafted lies mixed with just enough truth to be devastating. Claims of corruption, favoritism, explicit details about Emma and James that only someone watching closely would know. There's more, Rodriguez said. He looked at Emma. Ms. Rivera, 3 days ago, someone accessed your personnel file, changed your performance reviews, made it look like you'd been underperforming before Mr. Kingston arrived. Then suddenly your metrics improved after he took over. He's framing her, James said, making it look like I fabricated her competence to protect someone I'm sleeping with. Sarah stood abruptly. Where is my son? Where is Marcus right now? According to his schedule, he's in the building. Basement archives. James was already moving. Take me to him, now. Emma grabbed his arm. James, wait. This is what he wants. He wants you angry, making mistakes. If you confront him like this, he wins. I don't care about winning. I care about protecting you. Then let me handle this. He's doing this because of me. Let me end it. Emma, he's dangerous. He's hurt. There's a difference. She looked at Sarah. I need to talk to him. Alone. Mother to mother, you understand that, right? You want a chance to reach him before this destroys him completely. Sarah's eyes were wet. He's my son. Whatever he's done, he's still my child. Then help me help him, before it's too late. They found Marcus in the archives, surrounded by files. He looked up when Emma entered alone. His smile was bitter. I wondered when you'd figure it out. Took you longer than I expected. Marcus, we need to talk, do we? Because last time we talked, you told me you didn't love me. That you never had. That I was convenient until something better came along. He stood, circling her like a predator. And then you proved me right. The moment a billionaire looked at you, you spread your legs. That's not fair. Fair? He laughed. You want to talk about fair? I loved you, Emma. I would have given you everything. But you wanted more. You always wanted more. So I decided to show you what more costs. You leaked lies to the press. You doctored my files. You're destroying innocent people's careers. Innocent? Kingston's not innocent. He's a corporate raider who destroys hospitals and sells them for parts. I did my research. City General is just another acquisition to him. Just like you're just another conquest. You don't know him. I know men like him. I've watched them my whole life. Take what they want. Discard what they don't need. He'll do the same to you, Emma. And when he does, I'll be there. Waiting. Just like I've always been waiting. The door opened. Sarah entered, her face composed but eyes devastated. Marcus, what have you done? Mother, I wondered how long before you'd choose her over me. I'm not choosing anyone. I'm trying to understand why my son is committing career suicide. Career suicide? I'm exposing corruption. You're manufacturing a scandal because a woman rejected you. Sarah's voice was steel. Do you think I don't know? I've known since you started accessing files you had no business accessing. I've been covering for you, hoping you'd come to your senses. Marcus's face twisted. You knew? I'm the chief of medicine. Nothing happens in this hospital without my knowledge. Sarah moved closer. But I can't protect you from this. You've gone too far. Involved the media. Put the entire hospital at risk. For what? Revenge? Justice! Delusion. Sarah's voice broke. You need help, Marcus. Professional help. What you're doing isn't normal. It's obsessive, destructive. Don't pathologize me. I'm not crazy. I'm just the only one who sees the truth. Emma stepped forward. Marcus, I'm sorry I hurt you. I never meant to. But what we had ended a long time ago. You need to let it go. Let it go? His eyes were wild. You think I can just let go of 2 years of planning? Of watching you replace me like I never existed? Do you know what it's like to see someone you love fall for someone else? Yes, Emma's voice was soft. Because I'm doing it right now, and it's destroying me. Just like this is destroying you. You love him. Marcus's face went cold. You actually love Kingston. Emma realized the truth as she said it. Yes, God help me, I do. Then you'll understand what I'm about to do. Marcus pulled out his phone. I have one more story to release. Security footage from the hotel the night you met. I had someone watching him. Standard corporate espionage. Imagine what the media will do with footage of you entering his hotel room. Leaving the next morning. Timestamps prove it was before he officially took over the hospital. That proves nothing except that they met before, Sarah said. It proves she knew who he was, that this was planned, that she seduced the new owner to secure her position. Marcus smiled. Unless you want this released, I have demands. Name them, James said, entering the room with security. Resign, both of you. Leave this hospital, and maybe I'll delete the footage. James looked at Emma, at Sarah, at the man who held their futures hostage. No, James said. No, Marcus laughed. You're not in a position to negotiate. Neither are you. Because while you've been monologuing, my security team has been documenting everything you just confessed to. It's all recorded. Your admission of manufacturing evidence, blackmail, corporate espionage. I have enough to have you arrested right now. Marcus's face went white. You're bluffing. Rodriguez held up a recording device. Every word, Mr. Chen. Marcus, Sarah said quietly. It's over. Let them help you, please. For a moment, Marcus looked like a lost child. Then his expression hardened. If I'm going down, I'm taking everyone with me. The footage goes live in 60 seconds. I set a dead man switch. Unless I cancel it, every media outlet in the country gets the full story. Marcus, don't, Emma pleaded. 45 seconds. Choose, Kingston. Your reputation or hers. You can't save both. James looked at Emma. In his eyes, she saw everything they could have been, every moment they'd never have. Every future burning away in real time. Release it, James said. What? Marcus looked confused. Release your footage. Tell your story. But do it knowing this. I'm holding a press conference in 1 hour. I'm going to stand in front of every camera and tell them the truth. That I met Emma Rivera before I owned this hospital. That I fell for her not knowing what it would cost. That she tried to walk away to protect everyone. That she's the most ethical person I've ever met. And that if loving her cost me everything, it was worth it. Emma's breath caught. James, no. Your reputation means nothing without you. He turned to Marcus. So do your worst. Release your footage. Because all you'll prove is that before I was her boss, I was a man who got lucky enough to meet an extraordinary woman. And unlike you, I won't let her go without a fight. Marcus stared at them. The seconds ticked down. 10. 9. 8. You're both insane, he whispered. Maybe. James held out his hand to Emma. But we're insane together. Emma took his hand. Sarah stepped beside them. Marcus, cancel the upload. Now, or I will personally testify against you in court. Marcus looked at his mother, at Emma and James standing united, at the security team waiting to arrest him. His hand shook as he pulled out his phone. You really love him? I really do, Emma said. Marcus deleted the file. I hope he destroys you the way you destroyed me. Officers, Rodriguez said. 2 security guards stepped forward. Marcus Chen, you're under arrest for corporate espionage, blackmail, and fraud. As they led him away, Marcus looked back once. This isn't over, Emma. It's never over. The door closed. The room exhaled. Sarah sank into a chair. I need to resign. My son just tried to blackmail the hospital owner. I can't stay. No, James said. You tried to protect this hospital. From him. From us. You did your job. I need people like you if we're going to survive this. The media will still run stories. Speculation. Scandal. Let them. James pulled Emma close. We tell the truth. We face it together, and we save this hospital anyway. Unless, he looked at Emma, you want out. I'll understand if this is too much. Emma thought about the watercolors, about the man who'd seen her as an artist, not just a nurse, about how rare it was to find someone who made you feel human. I'm not going anywhere, she said. We finish what we started. James kissed her. Long and deep and full of promise. Your office in 1 hour, Sarah said, standing. We craft a statement. Together. And then we face whatever comes next. They had 58 minutes to figure out how to save their careers, their reputations, and each other. Emma was pretty sure 58 minutes wouldn't be enough. But for James Kingston, she'd try anyway. The press conference was scheduled for 2 p.m. Emma stood backstage with James, watching journalists file into the hospital auditorium like vultures sensing blood. It's not too late to change your mind, James said quietly. I can take the fall alone. Say you were an innocent party, that I pursued you inappropriately. Your career could survive. Stop trying to sacrifice yourself. Someone has to. That's how this works. No. Emma grabbed his hand. That's how it worked before. Now we do this differently. Together. Or not at all. Sarah appeared, holding printed statements. The board met an emergency session. They're giving us one chance. You go out there, tell the truth, and convince them this hospital is still worth saving. Or they'll replace both of you and sell to the highest bidder by end of week. No pressure then, Emma muttered. Welcome to leadership. Sarah handed them microphones. You have 10 minutes. Make them count. The lights hit Emma's face as they walked on stage. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. James squeezed her hand once, then let go. They stood side by side, facing judgment. Good afternoon. James's voice carried authority despite the chaos. I'm James Kingston, owner of City General Hospital. This is Emma Rivera, emergency department nurse. We're here to address the allegations against us. And we're going to tell you the truth. All of it. The room quieted. Pens poised over notebooks. Cameras focused. 3 weeks ago, I walked into a bar after a long day. I met a woman who reminded me what it felt like to be human. We talked for hours. We connected in a way I hadn't experienced in years. I didn't know she worked at the hospital I'd just acquired. She didn't know who I was. That night, we were just two people finding each other in the noise. Emma continued, her voice steady. The next morning, I learned that the man I'd spent the night with was my new boss. I was horrified, ashamed. I tried to end it immediately, because I knew what you'd all think, that I'd slept my way into security, that I'd used him. But Emma never used anyone, James said. She fought against this, harder than I did. She understood the cost before I did, and she tried to protect this hospital even when it meant walking away from something real. We didn't choose this, Emma added. We didn't plan it, but we're not ashamed of it either. What happened between us was honest. Maybe foolish, maybe impossible, but honest, a reporter stood. Ms. Rivera, Marcus Chen claims you're receiving special treatment, that your performance metrics were altered. How do you respond? Marcus Chen is my ex-boyfriend who couldn't accept that our relationship ended 2 years ago. He fabricated evidence, doctored files, created a scandal because he couldn't handle rejection. The truth is, my performance reviews have always been exemplary. Every supervisor I've worked with can verify that. My competence has nothing to do with James Kingston. Another reporter. Mr. Kingston, if this relationship jeopardizes your efforts to save this hospital, why not end it? James looked at Emma. Because some things are worth fighting for. This hospital is worth fighting for. The people who work here are worth fighting for. And yes, Emma Rivera is worth fighting for. I refuse to live in a world where being human is scandalous. But the hospital is losing money, a third reporter pressed. Can you save it while dealing with this distraction? This isn't a distraction. It's a reminder of why we're doing this. James pulled out documents. In the 3 weeks since I took over, we've reduced waste by 30%, renegotiated supplier contracts, implemented efficiency protocols that are already saving lives and money. These results have nothing to do with my personal life and everything to do with the talented staff who actually care about this community. Emma stepped forward. Every person in this hospital chose to work here because we believe in serving people who have nowhere else to go. We could make more money elsewhere, work easier jobs, but we're here because this matters, because saving lives matters more than profit. And if you destroy this hospital-chasing scandal, you're not hurting James Kingston or me. You're hurting every patient who depends on us." The room was silent. Then Sarah stepped on stage. "I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, Chief of Medicine. I've worked at City General for 20 years. I've served under 5 different owners. James Kingston is the first one who actually cares whether this place survives. Yes, his relationship with Ms. Rivera is complicated, but I've watched them both choose this hospital over themselves repeatedly. That's not corruption. That's integrity." A reporter called out, "Dr. Chen, isn't it convenient that your statement comes after your son was arrested for trying to blackmail them?" Sarah's face didn't change. "My son is receiving the help he needs, and I'm separating my role as his mother from my role as chief of medicine. The facts stand regardless of my personal situation. This hospital needs James Kingston. It needs Emma Rivera, and it needs everyone to stop treating human connection like a crime." The questions came rapid fire after that. James and Emma answered each one. Honest, vulnerable, refusing to hide. After 30 minutes, James held up his hand. "One final statement. To the board, to the community, to everyone watching. I'm not resigning. Emma's not resigning. We're staying. We're fighting. And we're going to save this hospital. Together. If that's not acceptable, then fire us both. But we won't apologize for being human." They walked off stage to chaos, shouting reporters, flashing cameras. Emma's hands were shaking. In the hallway backstage, James pulled her into an empty room. "However this ends, thank you. For standing with me, for not running when you had every reason to." "I'm terrified," Emma admitted. "We could lose everything." "I know." He kissed her forehead. "But at least we'll lose it honestly." Lisa burst through the door. "You two need to see this, now." She held up her phone. Social media was exploding, but not with condemnation. A stand with Emma was trending. Hospital staff posting stories about Emma saving lives. Patients sharing testimonials. Other nurses talking about workplace relationships and double standards. Save City General was trending higher. Community members pledging support. Local businesses offering donations. Former patients demanding the hospital stay open. "People are rallying," Lisa said, tears in her eyes. "They're on your side." Emma's phone lit up with messages. Colleagues expressing support. Patients thanking her. Strangers telling their own stories of impossible love. James's phone rang. He answered. Listened. His expression shifted from shock to disbelief to something like hope. "That was the board chair," he said slowly. "They're calling an emergency vote, but not to fire us, to approve a 3-year plan. 3 investors saw the press conference and won in. They said, and I quote, 'Anyone willing to fight that hard for a hospital is worth betting on.'" Emma laughed. It came out half-sob. "We're not fired? We're not fired. We're funded. Provisionally. If we can prove results over the next quarter." Sarah appeared in the doorway. "I just got word. The staff is organizing a vote of confidence. For both of you. They want to show the board that this hospital supports its people." "This is insane," Emma whispered. "Welcome to fighting for something worth saving," Sarah said. "It's never neat, never easy, but sometimes, if you're very lucky, it works." 3 months later, Emma stood in the newly renovated emergency department. Updated equipment, better staffing, shorter wait times. James's efficiency protocols were working. The hospital was operating in the black for the first time in 5 years. She found him in his office, staring at reports. "The quarterly numbers? Better than projected. We might actually pull this off." Emma closed the door, crossed to his desk. "Can the owner take a break? For you?" "Always." He pulled her onto his lap. "Though technically, fraternizing during work hours is still frowned upon. We have a 3-year plan to save this hospital. I think we earned a 5-minute break." James kissed her. Soft and slow and full of everything they'd fought for. "I have something for you." He opened a drawer. Pulled out a small box. Inside was a key. "What's this?" "A studio space, downtown. North-facing windows. Perfect light for painting. I leased it for 2 years. Figured you might want to remember who you were before the world told you who to be." Emma's eyes filled. "James, I can't accept this." "Why not?" "Because I'm still paying off student loans and I can't afford to waste time painting when I should be working extra shifts, and this is too much, and I don't deserve it, and..." James pressed a finger to her lips. "Breathe. You deserve beautiful things, Emma. You deserve time to create. You deserve a life outside these walls. And I deserve to see the woman I love actually live instead of just survive. The woman you love? Did I not mention that part? He smiled. I love you. Completely. Impossibly. In a way that makes me understand why Marcus went a little crazy. Except I won't blackmail anyone. I'll just shamelessly support your dreams and tell you daily that you're remarkable. Emma laughed through tears. I love you too. You ridiculous, stubborn, impossible man. So you'll accept the studio? On one condition. You learn to paint with me. Terrible, messy, amateur watercolors. No hiding behind work or responsibility. Just you and colors and maybe discovering something you gave up too. Deal. He kissed her again. Though I should warn you, I'm terrible at art. Good. I'll finally be better than you at something. 6 months after that, City General Hospital was featured in a national healthcare magazine. The headline, How One Hospital Chose People Over Profit and Survived. The article featured photos of the staff, of improved patient outcomes, of James Kingston and Emma Rivera, who'd somehow turned scandal into inspiration. Emma framed that article, hung it next to her first completed watercolor from the studio, a painting of the hospital at sunrise, light transforming everything it touched. Marcus Chen was released after psychiatric evaluation and community service. Sarah testified on his behalf, asking for treatment over punishment. He moved across the country, started therapy, sent Emma one email, I'm sorry. You deserved better. I hope you're happy. She was, not perfectly, not easily, but genuinely. Lisa got promoted to head nurse. She gave a speech about how love was worth the risk, how being human was worth the chaos, how Emma and James proved that sometimes the impossible just needed someone brave enough to try. 2 years after the press conference, James proposed. Not with a grand gesture, just the two of them in the studio, covered in paint, laughing about his terrible landscape attempt. Marry me, he said. Not because it's practical or easy or makes sense, but because I can't imagine my life without the woman who taught me that being human is braver than being perfect. Yes, Emma said, but only if you stop buying me expensive things and start trusting that I don't need saving. Counteroffer. I'll stop trying to save you if you stop trying to save me. We just save each other, every day, in small ways. Deal? Deal. They got married in the hospital chapel. Small ceremony, just close friends and the staff who'd stood by them. Sarah officiated, her son's absence acknowledged but not mourned. Emma wore watercolor flowers in her hair. James wore a tie Emma had painted for him. It was imperfect and beautiful and exactly right. At the reception in the hospital cafeteria, decorated by staff donations and community support, James stood to make a toast. 2 years ago, I bought this hospital as an investment, a project, a challenge. And then I met a woman in a bar who reminded me that the best investments aren't in buildings or balance sheets. They're in people, in taking risks on things that matter. Emma Rivera, you saved me before you ever knew I needed saving. You fought for this hospital harder than I did. You stood beside me when standing alone would have been easier. And you taught everyone here that love isn't a scandal. It's the reason we fight. Emma stood beside him. James Kingston walked into my life when I'd forgotten how to live outside these walls. He saw an artist when I'd only seen a nurse. He fought for me when I was ready to give up, and he proved that sometimes the most impossible things are the ones most worth believing in. They raised their glasses. To City General, Emma said. The hospital that refused to die. To second chances, James added. And the courage to take them. To love, Sarah said quietly. In all its complicated, messy, impossible forms. The room echoed with agreement. Outside, the hospital lights glowed against the night. Inside, the emergency department hummed with life being saved. Upstairs, patients recovered. Downstairs, staff worked through another shift. And in a studio across town, canvases waited for Emma's next painting. Maybe she'd capture this moment, this feeling of having fought for something impossible and won. Not perfectly, not easily, but honestly. Together. Human. Some love stories are neat. Simple. Easy to explain. This wasn't one of them. This was a story about two people who found each other in chaos. Who fought through scandal and betrayal and impossible choices. Who learned that being perfectly professional mattered less than being perfectly human. Who proved that sometimes. Saving yourself means letting someone else in. that sometimes the best investments are the ones that can't be measured in profit, that sometimes love is messy and complicated and worth every difficult moment. Emma and James didn't get a perfect ending. They got a real one, full of work and compromise and daily choosing each other despite the costs. But standing in that cafeteria, surrounded by the hospital they'd saved and the people who'd stood beside them, they realized something important. Perfect endings were overrated anyway. Real ones were so much better. The end.